The topic of this masterclass is the happy side hustle idea inside of you. So, how to find that gift that you were meant to bring to the world, how to unleash it, and why it is your absolute duty to find it. But let's work out how to do it in a really joyful way. I'm going to share my screen. Now, my idea of a happy side hustle is one that funds a dream holiday. I am all about the holidays. You can use your side hustle funds for anything that you want. However, this is extra money. So, what I'm here to talk about is a side hustle. This is not a give up your job and, use all this money to pay your bills. That's not what I'm all about. This is extra money that you wouldn't have otherwise had, that is created from monetizing something that brings you joy. When you create that extra cash, my strong recommendation to you is that you ring fence it and you use it for something else that brings you joy. So for me, that is going to Disney World or Disneyland. And I have spent a lot of time spending my side hustle money with Walt. Happy side hustle idea inside of you, how to find it and fund a dream holiday, even if you don't know what you could do or where to start. This masterclass is perfect for you. If you have a slight idea that you might like to have a side hustle, but you've no idea what it could be, and it feels like it could be a little bit of extra hassle in your life, that is absolutely not what happy side hustle is about. So let me show you. This masterclass is for anyone who is crafty. And by crafty, I mean just very generally creative. I use that word because a lot of the people that I work with use that word to describe themselves. So I want to use your language. But I wouldn't necessarily say I am crafty. I feel I am creative, but not in all aspects. And I'll come back to that later, because you don't have to be a full-on creative for a happy side hustle to work for you. It's perfect for you if you're just feeling a bit unfulfilled. So I have a day job. I love my day job. I really enjoy what I do, but it's not quite enough because it doesn't allow me to use some of the talents that I know I have. I am not about trying to work out a way to leave that day job and get rid of the kind of misery of it. That is not my goal here at all. And that is not, you may or may not love what it is you do for a job, but happy side hustle is kind of irrespective of that. It's about going, okay, you spend X number of hours per week working, that money pays your bills. Happy side hustle is this additional fund, but it has to be joyful, right? So I am not here to tell you to add any extra hassle into your life. It's about a more joyful life. It's about finding those talents, finding those things that are within you and have always been within you, but you might have suppressed them, you might have forgotten about them, or you might not realize that they are talents. So we're going to talk about that in this masterclass. If you have a hobby already and you've thought for a while, I'd quite like to turn this into a little side business, this will help you as well. And we're also going to talk a tiny bit about confidence and the confidence to bring your gift to the world. There is also a separate masterclass around confidence because that's a biggie. Who am I? So I know some of you know me already, but if you don't know me, my name is Julie Begbie. There is me in Walt Disney World in Florida. I was doing, that picture was taken by one of the Disney World photographers when I was doing the Keys to the Kingdom VIP tour around Disney World. None of my family did it with me. In fact, you had to be over 18 to do it. And I think it was over 18. Might have been 16. Anyway, my kids weren't old enough. So my husband stayed with my kids and I did it on my own. I spent a whole day in Disney with a VIP tour guide. And that's why I've got a big badge on in that photo. It was just amazing. And I got a little, what was it they get? Oh, a little badge that proved that I had taken the Disney World tour. Anyway, That picture with my face lit up there is because of the sheer joy that I feel when I'm in Disney World. And also, I'm in Disney World funded with guilt-free money. So I'll be honest, the very, very first time we went to Disney World, before I had a side hustle, we had to cash in an investment policy to do it. And it was supposed to be a once in a lifetime trip. And many, many people that go to Disney World go for a once in a lifetime trip and then get hooked. And as soon as I realized I was hooked, I knew that I couldn't keep making financial decisions that weren't great for my future. So it wasn't terrible, but that insurance policy, it was an endowment policy that had kind of been from an old mortgage, but that could have been used in a different way, and in a way that maybe would have provided something a little bit more kind of long lasting. But we felt at the time that we were going to have this once in a lifetime trip when the kids were young, and that's how we were going to fund it. When I realized that I was ruined for all other holidays and I wanted to go back, that was my absolute motivation for setting up a happy side hustle. 5 facts about me. So the top left-hand corner is a picture of fingerless knitted gloves. My very first side hustle as a teenager was knitting and selling fingerless knitted gloves to other teenagers. And that side hustle started in the same way as many side hustles do, where I created something for myself, and then other people started saying to me, "Oh, could you make me one of those?" So I don't have a picture of them, but I used to put names on them. So I used to knit into the glove, like Julie on one hand and my boyfriend's name on the other hand. And as soon as people saw that, so they weren't just any knitted gloves, and they weren't knitted gloves you could buy anywhere else. They were like couple knitted gloves. Really cool, right? And as a teenager, like I've got teenagers now, and they would be like, "Really, Mom? Knitted gloves with like partners' names on them?" But at the time, people loved them. And I made, well, lots of lessons learned, but I made quite a bit of money selling those once I got over the, no, I'll just do them for free, or I'll just do them for the cost. When I actually realized that nobody else was creating these and I could price them however I wanted, I made a significant amount of money in my teenage years, which was really exciting. The picture below that is to symbolize that I have one of my side hustles in the past was a hypnotherapy practice. I am a qualified NLP master practitioner and hypnotherapist, and I've had a number of side hustles, some product-based and some service-based, and Midlothian Hypnotherapy Centre was my service-based side hustle. We've got, if you go over to the other side, we've got the Disney Castle. I've already told you about that. That is what my side hustle funds. It's the joy, the magic. I absolutely love it. And the one below that is to indicate, I just want you to know, so I am all about happiness. I am all about joy, but I just want you to not get the impression that I have had a completely charmed life. Like I haven't. I had quite a challenging childhood. I grew up in Northern Ireland. I grew up during the times of the Troubles because of my age. So I saw, yeah, I mean, I grew up in a war zone, basically. And also my mum suffered from mental illness, all of my life, and she died when I was quite young. So there was a lot of challenges, I guess, like most people have. Like, I'm not telling you this for any sort of sympathy, but I just don't want you to think that, you know, it's all right to have a happy life when everything's going well. I have a happy life because I've chosen to. And I want to talk about that as we go through the series of masterclasses here. I really feel it's important to make a conscious choice to be happy, as opposed to waiting for happiness to arrive. And having a happy side hustle is a real core foundational part of that. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that and how to work out what your happy side hustle is. The picture in the middle would take me quite a while to explain. However, it's about, the picture in the middle represents for me the stories that we are told that we just believe as an adult. So very, very shortened version of this story. I believed that I lived beside a quarry when I was younger, but I didn't. And I only found that out about 10 years ago. And the reason that I believed I lived beside a quarry was because I used to hear all of these loud bangs. And I would say to my mum, and as a child, I would say to my mum and dad, what was that? And they would say, don't worry, it's just the quarry. It's just a controlled explosion in the quarry. And it was literally 10 years ago, and I'm 53, that I realized there's no quarry. Like where I thought it was, it just isn't there. Like you can't hide a quarry. But I didn't really question why I'd never seen it. Those loud noises were bombs. But my mum and dad obviously didn't want to say to me, oh, it's another bomb. So they came up with a white lie that protected me. Anyway, the point of telling you this is you're walking around as an adult with a whole load of nonsense in your head just because somebody else has told you. And sometimes that can hold you back. So whether there's a quarry there or not was kind of irrelevant. It probably made me feel much more secure and comfortable as a child. But you will have things hanging about in your head around your talents and around the things that you really bring to the world. And I want you to throw those stories aside for the rest of this masterclass. I want you to really throw aside modesty. I want you to just forget the things that people have told you that you can't do, because you can do anything. And I'm going to show you how to work out what's the perfect thing to do. Why is now the perfect time for a side hustle? Well, everybody is online now, aren't they? I mean, a couple of years ago, they weren't. And then we went through a pandemic. And then everybody had to work out how to shop online. When you can create a product or a service that you can sell online, your audience is out there. Your audience will be able to access it. It's the perfect time for a side hustle as well, because it means that all your eggs aren't in one basket. I've got a number of side hustles, and I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that you set up a whole load of side hustles. In fact, I'm not gonna allow you to do that, and I'll tell you later why. But over the years, I have developed a number of side hustles, and that's fine. You can evolve into that too. However, when I have a quieter time in my day job, I can just simply pivot and move to one of my side hustles. So for example, recently I had a big project cancelled in my day job that I was working in, which led me to have a week free. I decided to then pivot and focus on my jewelry side hustle, and I had a massive sale. And then I decided to focus on happy side hustle and deliver some additional value to the people that are in this community. So you can, it takes that kind of eggs in one basket worry away when you have a side hustle alongside your main job. So I highly recommend it. Everything starts with an idea. Every single thing starts with an idea. So if you have a look around wherever you are right now, everything that you can see starts with an idea. So what I mean by that is, so I'm here and I have got a jewelry box in front of me from my jewelry side hustle. That jewelry box was dreamt up by a designer right back before it existed, who said, oh, we should design a jewelry box that is this size by this size, that is this color, that has this insert, that you could put this on. It became a thing after it was an idea. Does that make sense? So everything, so the screen that is beside me, so I've got, when I look over here, it's because I've got another screen over here that I can see the slides on. That screen was once an idea in someone's head. Everything that exists in the world around us, the house that I live in, was once an idea in an architect's head. Everything starts with an idea. Your side hustle starts with an idea. It's what you do with that idea that determines the success of your side hustle. It's about taking that idea and converting it into something real and taking the steps to do that. But there's a massive power in ideas, and that's what we're going to work out through this masterclass. What is a side hustle? What actually is a side hustle? People ask me that regularly. So a side hustle is just an additional thing as well as your main job. So it's not, a side hustle is not your full-time income. It's not your only source of employment. It's not the money that you use to feed your family. Your side hustle is something that provides additional funds over and above whatever it is you do as your main income. It's not to say that one day your side hustle could not become your main income, but the purpose of this and what we're not doing today is trying to work out how that could happen. We're looking at how do you create this additional pot of income that I highly recommend you use for dream holidays. Like, who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that? What is a happy side hustle? The difference between a side hustle and a happy side hustle is I'm absolutely passionate about the fact that it's got to be all about the joy. Your side hustle has got to be all about the joy. There is absolutely no point in adding any extra things into your life if they don't bring you joy. Who needs that? Who needs additional pressures on their time if it isn't something that you really love doing? So when you're picking your idea, it has to be all about the joy. So how do you find it? Like, how do you find your perfect side hustle idea? I'm going to show you. Your talents and desires are not the same as everybody else's. This is critical to start with because you are born with a set of talents and desires, and you have developed expertise over your life, and your unique combination of those, it is what is going to determine your perfect side hustle. Whatever you're good at, though, you tend to think that other people find easy, and they don't. So I don't want you to we're going to create a list shortly. I don't want you to rule anything out of the list. So let me give you an example of something that I am not great at. I am not great at writing something, like sitting down with a blank sheet and writing a big long post or a big long blog. And I know that's something that I should be regularly doing for my side hustle, but I'm not great at it. I'm not great at creating emails, like writing an email either. I just don't find joy in it. But other people are just brilliant at it. Like, I really admire. Sometimes people will post something and I'll go, wow, that's just written in such a persuasive way and just a really joyful way, which obviously appeals to me. And whenever I give that feedback to people, sometimes they say, oh, no, I mean, I just did this, but it's a skill that I don't have. I have skills that other people don't have. You have skills that other people don't have. Other people have skills that other people don't have. So I want you to remember that as we try and work out what your idea is here, because just because it seems easy to you doesn't mean that everybody can do it. If it seems easy to you, it's probably a perfect side hustle. Ed and Pablo have magic within them. So Pablo Picasso and Ed Sheeran, to take two examples of people that are famous for their talents, famous for what they have brought to the world. They have magic within them that they have let out. So both of them were born with the innate ability to have that talent, but their life experience and their practice and their expertise has created something that people are very, very interested in. Ed Sheeran, for example, talks about letting the music out of him, as opposed to, he's not learning all the notes and looking and seeing, what computer generated way could these be put together to create a winning ballad. Ed Sheeran just has that within him, and it comes out, if that makes sense. And the reason that I'm telling you that is you've got that magic within you as well for whatever your side hustle is. So your magic is there. It's just about going, right, how do you become the Ed Sheeran of your particular choice of side hustle? Let's start with your why. And the reason that it's really important to start with this is a side hustle is going to take time. Now, as I say, it's going to be joyful. So whatever you do is going to bring you joy, but it is going to take you additional time. And some parts of it may bring you less joy, right? So I've got to be upfront with that. If you create something, and whether it be a product or a service, you're going to need to market it. And some people really enjoy marketing, and some people really do not enjoy marketing. You have to do it though, because otherwise you're like, if no one knew about Ed Sheeran, he would be Ed Sheeran sitting in his bedroom singing songs. he wouldn't have brought the joy of his music to the world, and he wouldn't be kind of internationally famous and super rich. So someone had to market Ed Sheeran. It started off being Ed Sheeran, and then as you get bigger, you can pay other people to do those things that you don't necessarily want to do. But at the beginning, you have to do all the things. So when you need to sit down and, for example, do a piece of marketing, if that isn't something that floats your boat, understanding your why you're doing it is the thing you need to motivate yourself. So step one, I'm going to show you 3 ways to find your side hustle, but the foundation of this is understand your why. So I want you to answer this question now. Actually, I should have said this at the beginning. I would love you to go and get a pen and a piece of paper, because we're going to do some exercises as we go through the rest of this masterclass. So I'm just going to chat. If you haven't already got one, I'm just going to talk as you run off and get one, or if you're watching this in replay, you can just pause and then come back. The first question that I want you to write down on your blank piece of paper is, why do I want a side hustle? Why do I want a side hustle? So what is it? What would a side hustle bring you? And I really think you should be as specific as you can. So for me, I would like a side hustle to provide me some extra money. Okay, everybody would like extra money, but when I am tired and I know I've got to do a task for my side hustle that isn't lighting me up as much, the vague promise of extra money at some point isn't the thing that's going to light me up. But when I draw a picture of a Disney castle and I have some sort of way of visualizing how close I am to that, then I can find the energy, I can find the strength, I can find that extra 10 minutes in my day to do the things that need to be done to get to where I need to get to. So on your paper, I want you to write down, like, what is your dream holiday? And if you don't want to side hustle for a dream holiday, what do you want it for? But specifically, how much money do you need? When will you need that by? What exactly are you going to use the money for? And how will that make you feel? Like, for a dream holiday, create a vision board. Create a vision board and look at it every single day. And not just look at it, feel it. Like, just get a real sense of when you've achieved that vision board, what is your life going to be like? What is going to change? What is going to be different in such a positive way? How are you going to feel? How are you going to feel when you get in the plane for that dream holiday? How are you going to feel when you're me and you woke up Main Street in Walt Disney World and you know that you've paid for that holiday with extra funds from monetizing something that you find joyful anyway? Holidays are incredible, but even more incredible when you know that you can afford them, that you can pay that money and not come home and go, gosh, we've gone into the credit card there, I'm going to need to pay this off. Okay. Create a visual pot. Now, if you're watching this in replay, you can pause and do this now. If not, I want you to write a note to yourself. I would like you to create a visual pot. Work backwards from how much you need and color it in. So for those of you of a certain age, there's a picture here of the Blue Peter thermometer. Now, you will not get that if you're under, I don't know, 45. You probably have never seen that. In fact, that picture is definitely from the early 70s. Look at what they are wearing. But the Blue Peter thermometer is very, very famous in fundraising, because that visual graphic of I've lit. So what they used to do is they used to light up each of the lights as, so the first, say that the bottom rung of that thermometer, the bottom kind of section was £1,000, and the next one was 2,000, and the next one was 3,000. And every time they revisited it on Blue Peter, I think they used to do it weekly, and they would say, this is how much money we've raised now. And that visual is really, really motivating, particularly when you can see how far you've come and how far is left to go. There's a real, like, It really gives you that motivation to go, if I just did 10 more minutes, or if I just did one more thing, or if I just kind of tweaked that listing, or whatever it is you need to do. So I want you to create a vision board, and I want you to create a pot. And believe me, this is so, so important, because this is going to keep you motivated for your happy side hustle activities. Your job is to let your side hustle out. We are not trying to find something here. It's more uncover. We're trying to uncover something that is already inside you. This is already inside you. I want to show you how to bring this out, how to bring this out to the world, even when you have no clue what your side hustle could be. Let me show you. We are going to talk about your ikigai. So your ikigai is a Japanese concept that means the reason for being. The idea is for you to find your purpose, your reason to jump out of bed in the morning. If you can find that thing and monetize it, turn it into your happy side hustle, life is easy. And it brings more purpose, it brings more meaning, it brings more joy to your life. Who doesn't want that? Like, who does not want that? And when you can monetize that as well. So let me show you how to work that out. I'm going to ask you some simple questions. So this is why, if you haven't got your pen and paper yet, you're going to need to nip off and get it, because I'm going to ask you some simple questions, and you're going to plug all the answers into your Venn diagram, and the center point is likely to be your happy side hustle idea. We are going to start this on the masterclass. If you're watching on replay, I would suggest that you pause after every question and answer it fully, and then start playing again. If you're watching this live, I want you to start the process, and then I want you to finish it off after the masterclass is finished, but I want you to do it today, okay? Question 1, I want you to write in your paper, what do you love? What do you love? I want you to think of everything that you love. No judgment, no ruling anything out. No, well, that's silly. There's no way I could monetize that. I want you to write down things like, if you love seeing a robin in the garden, I want you to write that down. If you love feeling the sand beneath your feet on the beach, I want you to write that down. If you love helping your friend to paint her living room, I want you to write that down. I want you to just think about all of the things that you love in life. If you love dogs, then I want you to write that down. If you love a rainbow, I want you to write that down. So anything that you love in life, I want you to write it down. And I also want you to continue to add to this list forever, really, because you want to get in the habit of noticing everything that gives you those kind of daily pleasures. So take your list, write down what do you love, and then I want you to write down as many things as you possibly can. And I'm going to give you, watching live in video, I'm going to give you just 1 minute, because I want you to finish this later on. So 1 minute starting now. What do you love? What does the world need? Write that at the top of the page. I want you to think of a time that you have helped somebody recently. How did it make you feel? What sort of things do people ask you to help them with? What sort of things are you able to offer to help people with? How would you like other people to describe you? If you were to imagine that you were invisible in a room and people were saying, oh, do you know such and such? What is she like? What sort of words would you love people to use? What sort of words do you guess that people use? And again, cast aside all modesty here. I want you to really think about, what is it? How would your friends describe you? How would people describe you? But start with, think of a time where you've helped somebody. Next question. You know what to do now. What can you be paid for? New page, right at the top. What can you be paid for? Here are some questions that I want to pose to you, and I want you to write down any words that come to mind. What would you do if you weren't afraid? What would you do if you weren't afraid that people would laugh? What would you do if you weren't afraid that no one would want the thing? What would you do if you weren't afraid to fail? What excites you? What excites you about the world? If time and money were no object and you had no pressing responsibilities, how would you like to spend your days? Imagine that you didn't have to think of other people and you didn't have to think about how to generate enough money to live. Imagine all of that was just covered. You can even take, if it feels too big to think about that in days, you can think about, imagine you have a lazy Saturday morning where everybody else is busy and there are no pressures or demands on your time at all. How would you choose to spend your time? What would you actually do? It can be really helpful here to close your eyes and dream of your ideal day. So if you were to create your own life, heads up, you are creating your own life. But imagine that from today, you could just reset and create your perfect day. So imagine tomorrow is your perfect day and you have full control over exactly what that day would look like. Where would you be? You could be anywhere. Who would you be with? What would you be doing? I want you to write down all the things that come to mind when you answer those questions. 1 minute from now. One final question. So we're creating our Venn diagram. We've got 3 of the questions answered. We're going to go to the 4th. What are you good at? Fresh page or other side of the page that you just used. What are you good at? No modesty. What is it you do really well? What do your friends and family say are your best qualities? If you were to ask your friends and family right now to describe you or to tell you your best qualities, what do you imagine they would say? What are the things you really appreciate about yourself? What are the things that you're just really proud of in your life? Like, where do you stand in your zone of genius? Where is it that you just feel unstoppable? Like, are you great at gardening? Are you amazing at making cakes? Are you fantastic at putting together an outfit for a night out? Are you fabulous at making cocktails? Are you the best hostess in the world? Do you love planning a Disneyland trip? What do you love doing? What are you great at? How would your friends describe you? If you asked your friends, what should my happy side hustle be? What would they say? Like, where, think about if you ask them, where do your talents lie? What would they say? Fill a page. 1 minute. This is the last question. So 1 minute starting now. Now you're going to create your own Venn diagram. I want you to look through your 4 pages of notes and I want you to see what words or images, if you've drawn things, what jumps out at you most? What are the things that just you read and go, yeah, I can feel the energy of that word or phrase. So you've written down what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at. And what we want to do is we want to create a short list from those 4 pages. And then we're going to find the one that is right in the middle. What you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you are good at. Your Ikigai is the perfect side hustle, which sits right in the middle of all of those, right in the middle. Let's create a shortlist then. So you've got your 4 pages, and what we're going to do is we are going to use the side hustle idea matrix to filter the ideas that you've got through a funnel. The funnel is through the filters of joy, time, and profit. Let me explain each of these to you. You look at the side hustle ideas that have resonated with you, and they can still be very, very vague at the moment. So if you love gardening, like that's maybe an obvious one that would turn into a side hustle. But if you love Walt Disney World, still put that on the list. So it might not be immediately obvious to you how Walt Disney World turns into a side hustle, but there's lots of ways that it could. So at the moment, we're still not ruling out anything, and we're not judging things. We're not going, oh, just because I'm really good at taking photos of my kids, that can't be a side hustle. Of course it can. So you take the words that have resonated with you, the words and phrases that have resonated with you from those 4 pages, and you write your short list in the column on the left-hand side, so your ideas. And then for each idea, you're going to score it. So this is going to become a numbers game. So imagine planning a trip to Disney is the first one, which it probably would be for mine. Then out of 10, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is hardly any and 10 is loads, or 0 is hardly any and 10 is loads, how much joy do I get from planning a trip to Disney? That is a 10 for me, like hands down. That is how I would spend a lazy Saturday morning. That is how I could spend weeks easily planning a Disney trip. In fact, I've got a Disney trip coming up next year, and I've got a lot of research to do for it. And I'm researching it every single day already, and I will research it right through until we go next year. So that's a 10 for me. Time. So by time here, I mean, how long would it take you to do the thing to be able to sell it? So that is not the same as, oh, well, I would spend a year just doing that for myself. That is, if I say I were to offer a Disney World planning service for first timers. So imagine that was my idea, which I have had that idea before, but I haven't done anything with it. But imagine that was my idea. Then I'd go, how much time would it take me to create a planning service for first time Disney people? There's a number of ways that I could go with that. But imagine I was going to create a book, like maybe an ebook, that would help people, tell them all the things that I have learned that would be the shortcuts to having the perfect trip. All the things that when we go with other people, they go, oh my goodness, like I had no idea you could do that. When we walk to the front of queues for things, and anyway, it's a big learning curve going to Walt Disney World and Disneyland, and it can be kind of overwhelming. So in terms of the time it would take me to create an ebook, for example, if that's the way I decide to go, that would probably take me, say, a couple of months to create something that was really, really useful. But then once I created it, I could sell that over and over and over again with no additional time. And I already have a lot of knowledge that would go into that. If I decided that I wanted to write a book on holidays in the Maldives, that would take me forever, because I wouldn't know where to start. I've never been, and I would have to do all that research myself. So it makes sense to start from something that already lights you up, something that you already have some knowledge around, whatever it is, be it a craft or a service, any sort of product. And then profit. So the last column here is around, well, how much could I actually sell that for? So a Disney ebook might bring me 10 in joy. In terms of time, probably a 5, because it would be hard at the beginning, and then there would be pretty much no time, depending on how I decide to support people. So say that's a 5 out of 10 in terms of like from no time to loads of time. And how much profit could I make from it? Well, ebooks don't sell for a massive amount, but if I were to sell it for, say, £27, that's a good £27 is a great price online for a digital product. Say I was to set for £27. If I did 8 weeks worth of work and I only sold one, that wouldn't be great. But actually, I could probably sell a decent number of them, which then means the profit there could be, guess, say a 7 or an 8 out of 10. So the Disney idea for me is a 10, a 5, and say an 8. Then I would go to my next idea. What else has resonated with me? Well, something else that I absolutely love is cruising. Let's stick on holidays. I love cruising. Okay, so what could I do that is connected to cruising? Well, I could maybe become a travel planner. So I could actually have, take one of these kind of travel agency, like freelance travel agency ideas. Okay, so how much joy would that bring me? You get the idea. So for each one, I'm going, right, for that idea, out of 0 to 10, how much joy does that give me? 0 to 10, how much time would it take me to create that and deliver that? So in fact, let me do my jewelry, because that probably will resonate with some people. And so I also have a hand stamped jewelry business. How much joy does it give me? I would say creating jewelry is probably a 7 for me now. Like, I do still really enjoy it, but I would choose to be researching Disney over it, if that makes sense. How much time does it take me? I've really, really fine-tuned my skills in the products that I do. So most products take me quite a short time now. So I would say for time, that's probably an 8 or a 9. So the time one is like 10 is it's really time efficient, and 1 is it's really terrible. It takes so much time. And then the profit I can make on it, well, again, it's been going for nearly 10 years now. So in terms of how I've got my suppliers, etc., I can make a good profit on all the items that I heavily promote. So profit is probably an 8 for me. So you can see, as I'm going down, I'm going through all the ideas and I'm scoring them 1 to 10, where 1 is least joy, 1 is most time, 1 is least profit, up to 10. And then you're going to get a score. So for each of the ideas, you're going to score them and go, right, for planning Disney trip, that score is 28. For cruises, that score is 17. For hand stamp jewelry, that score is 21. And we're just going to go with the one that has the highest score. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go with the one that has the highest score. However, if there's a draw, or the one with the highest score does not make you go, yes, I've got it, then we're going to put the highest, what's the word? We're going to make joy the most important one of those scores. So you're going to go back down your joy list and you're going to go, oh, well, that's a 10 in joy. How would it feel if I chose that as my happy side hustle? If that feels great, then that's the one. It is super important to choose one. What happens is when I go through this exercise with people, they regularly say to me, Julie, this is so good. I would like to have 3 side hustles, or I can't decide between this one and this one, so I'm going to do them both. I heavily, heavily recommend not doing that. Highly recommend not doing that, because if you haven't got any side hustles at the moment, you can evolve your side hustles. So we're not choosing one forever. We're choosing one to get started with a happy side hustle. If you try and start more than one at the same time, when it comes to the marketing part of it, unless you're targeting exactly the same customer, and the odds are you aren't, you're going to make it overwhelming. You're going to double, triple, quadruple the amount of work you're going to have to bring people to your side hustle. I have had a number of side hustles. I find that my side hustles are the most successful when I focus heavily on one. So I want you to learn from that. I don't want you to have to kind of try and see how many that you can start. Maybe one's going to stick. It won't. It's whatever you put your energy and your focus in is going to be the one that sticks. So the one simple question that you ask yourself once you've gone through the matrix is, which idea makes your heart sing the most? And we're just going to go with that. We're just going to choose it. Don't overthink it. Don't procrastinate. Don't wait until it's perfect. I want you to pick one idea and get started. I don't want you to go, oh, I've got a list there and I'm not sure. I'll sleep on it. Or I'll take a few days to make sure I get the absolutely right one. It's really unlikely you're going to come back to this. I want you to choose one now. So I want you to go through the list and I want you to go, this is my starter side hustle. It will evolve. It's really unlikely you're going to choose the perfect side hustle now and you'll never change it again and it'll be the one that you have for the rest of your life. But by starting something, by starting with the idea that you have now, it allows you to start the learning journey. It allows you to start funding that dream holiday. Like you can start funding it with something and then you can move into something else. So for example, a couple of years ago, at the start of the pandemic, we had, I had a lot of people in the Happy Side Hustle community that were making face masks long before they were available in the shops. And the demand for them was through the roof. Now, I didn't have a community of people who were all absolutely desperate to make face masks, but they were prepared to take the action and they were prepared to start. And the lessons that they learned from setting up a side hustle and the lessons they learned around marketing and customer service and insurance and all of the things that go with side hustling, then just nicely evolve them into their next side hustle and their next side hustle. And I can think of a few examples of people who have evolved a couple of side hustles later, having started with masks. So it doesn't really matter nearly what your idea is, as long as it brings you joy and as long as it starts to fill your pot for your dream holiday. It's just really important to take action. The majority of people watch a masterclass like this and go, oh yeah, I'll do that. And then they don't. Tough love. Like if you have spent the last hour listening to this, there is a fire inside of you that is dying to get out and it's your duty to release it. The joy that you bring through your happy side hustle will ripple out to all areas of your life. I regularly hear how people are enjoying their day jobs more because they've purposely brought more joy into their life. And when you bring it into one element of your life, it ripples out. It ripples out to other people. It ripples out to the work environment that you're in. It ripples out to your family and friends. It allows you to be a role model for the people around you, showing people how to consciously create a joyful life. It is your duty to unleash your happy side hustle. It's not something that's optional or maybe you could get around with it unless your life is absolutely boundlessly full of joy at the moment. You need this. You probably haven't released the Pablo Picasso, the Ed Sheeran, the talent that is lying within you. If you're not fully utilizing that, you're not going to have the happiest life you could. It is your duty to release that. I need you to take that one idea and decide to commit. So don't turn this masterclass off, put those notes away and go and do something else and then just put it in a drawer. That would have been a complete waste of this last hour for you. You've got to this point. You've stuck around to this point for a reason. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to start your happy side hustle. I want to leave you with a quote from my favorite author, Jen Sincero. Our thoughts become words. We talked earlier about everything starts with a thought. At the moment, you've got some thoughts in your head, and I'm getting you to write them down into words. Your thoughts become words. Your words become beliefs. When you believe something, you start to notice all the things that are relevant to it. So now you've got an idea of what your side hustle is going to be. You'll start to notice all the things that will help to support your side hustle journey. Your beliefs become your habits. So when you believe that you can create a dream holiday pot of money, you start to take the actions that get you towards that dream holiday. And those habits become your realities. But it all starts with an idea. I want you to take your notes. I want you to work out your ikigai and I want you to create your dream life. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your family. You owe it to the world to release that joy. I promise you, you will never regret it. I have never, ever worked with anyone in the Happy Side Hustle community, and it's been going for way more than 2 years now. I have never worked with anyone who has regretted finding their happy side hustle. Like, never. You're not going to regret it. We regret the things that we don't do. And this is your talent that's just dying to get out. We have one life, just one life. Why aren't we all running like we're on fire towards our wildest dreams? We are all capable of being Ed Sheeran. We are all capable of having the life that we dream of, but we need to take actions and we need to unleash that side hustle from inside of us. I wish you all the luck and love in the world. Bring your happy side hustle alive and enjoy every moment.